Welcome back to Cryptos Are Us. I am George. We're all George. So, happy Saturday. Bitcoin is looking absolutely fantastic. It's around like 66.7 right now. Yesterday, it touched upon that 67.1, the line that I drew for you guys. Earlier in the week, I told you guys, hey, if Bitcoin breaks through 63.7, the next spot is probably going to be a 67, that 67.1 too, and that's exactly where we hit yesterday. So things are moving according to plan, and there's nothing that's causing Bitcoin to go down right now. I mean, any person, hopefully none of you guys, but any person that sold last week when Bitcoin dipped down to like 54, 53,000, they're kicking themselves right now. They're kicking themselves, and they're probably wondering if should they buy back in, and if so, they end up with less Bitcoin, right? So this is always the danger. I've been saying this for years. This is always the danger when it comes to trying to outsmart the market, trying to time the market, because you just don't know what may happen just days later, right? So things are moving really good, not only for Bitcoin, but for altcoins. A lot of them have come up a lot within the last week, and we are, again, heading into next week, which I think is going to be absolutely fantastic. And plus, this week is not over. We still got all of today and tomorrow before next week, and I think we could see some explosive moves just these 2 days alone. It is getting really exciting once again, right? We're not too far off from our previous high, and we may see a new high next week. So the big speculation out of next week, well, there's two big things. First of all, let's talk about one that's for sure, and that is the spot Ethereum ETFs. There'll be five coming out on Tuesday. This has been confirmed. You have some big boys like Fidelity, Franklin Templeton, Invesco. And you have some smaller guys like 21 Shares and, I forgot the last one, Van Eyck. I mean, they're not really that small. But you got 5 Ethereum spot ETFs coming out next week. What's good is, I thought Grayscale was going to come out with their conversion to trust into ETF. I don't think that's been confirmed yet, so that is good. Because I'm not so sure about Grayscale. I hope it's not a situation where as soon as they launch their Ethereum spot ETF, they start dumping like they have been for Bitcoin, right? Hopefully that's not the case. But the 5 others coming out next week, again, I've said this before, it's not a coincidence that they're all launching. They got approval, first of all, and they're launching right before the big Bitcoin conference. I think they know something's going on. They're going to ride the coattails of the momentum, and they could debut even better than Bitcoin spot ETFs. As surprising as that sounds, it may happen because of the environment right now versus the environment when the spot Bitcoin ETFs launched, right? So there may be billions of volume going into them already, right? So that's number one. That's coming just 4 days. 4 days from now. Not on Monday, on Tuesday, though. I think it's going to be absolutely huge. Really big. So that's number one that's coming up next week. Number 2, of course, is the Bitcoin conference, right? Now, you have the usual guys. Every year you have the usual guys. Like, you know Michael Saylor's going to be there, okay? Kathy Wood is going to be there. And usually you got, like, Jack Mahler's there. And then you got, you know, a lot of the developers, the core devs, and all these guys. And they're all super bullish about Bitcoin. We know that. Like, at this point, what could Saylor say that we haven't heard? Not to take anything away from him, but, I mean, he can only come out with new parables to say and compare it to Bitcoin. That's about it. There's nothing else. But I think most people are excited because of what Trump is going to say. Now, RFK is going to be there too. And we know RFK is very pro-Bitcoin. And hint, I heard that he is coming to the Crowded Combat fight, the next IFC fight. I'm going to share a little bit more about that at the end of this video. But yeah, he's going to be there. You know, he might say something or announce something, but I think most people are looking forward to hearing what Trump has to say. And the latest rumor is that the U.S. could be making Bitcoin as some kind of strategic reserve, not like to back the USD, but just as a reserve. And we haven't seen this, for a long time. Obviously, we, as a country, we still have gold. We have a lot of gold and stuff, but the U.S. dollar is not backed by gold. But it's still like a strategic reserve, right? So there's a lot of rumors that Bitcoin could be made a strategic reserve. Doesn't mean that like the U.S. just go spend trillions into it, but just a little bit, even just the notion of it, could mean a lot. Now, there are people taking bets that Trump may say something like that, right? He may not declare it, but even for him to say that if he becomes president, he could think about making Bitcoin a strategic reserve, or he will make it a strategic reserve, that will be absolutely crazy. That would send Bitcoin to over $100,000, I think. And plus, he might announce other stuff that's pretty obvious, like being more favorable toward the miners and having bigger tax breaks, and really making the U.S. the innovation hub for all things crypto, rather than like let other countries like China do it. It makes a whole lot of sense, right? So that's the next big thing that's coming out next week, and I think between the Ethereum spot ETFs and Bitcoin conference, we could certainly see we're not too far off from all-time high. So we could definitely see Bitcoin push to 70s, and then just a little bit more with a little bit more momentum and a couple of short squeezes. We could be looking at a $75,000 next week Bitcoin. That would be absolutely fantastic. So fantastic. Something else I saw today about Bitcoin strategy is I looked at this chart someone posted, the best performing stocks in Japan since in 2024, and guess who was number one? Metaplanet. That's right. The company that has adopted Bitcoin strategy following what Michael Saylor did, and they are being rewarded for it. Number one, and they keep loading up. They keep DCAing. They don't have the same kind of money or buying power that MicroStrategy does, but they're doing what they can and DCAing 20 Bitcoin here, 30 Bitcoin there, 20 Bitcoin there. And that's the way to do it. You DCA over time, you're going to start accumulating a whole bunch in the end, and that's how you win, right? It's no different to retail investors. That's why I've always said, hold on DCA. That's really the only strategy you need. I mean, it really does work. So these are the things that's important. Right now things are just looking good. I mean, there's nothing else to say. Like, we went from the greed sentiment to like very fearful sentiment, and now back to greed again. It's not like we haven't seen this playbook before. We saw it even earlier, a couple months ago, when Bitcoin was at 73, it dropped down to 56, and then went up to 72, right? So it's not like we haven't seen it before. So this time we dipped a little bit lower. Some of the charts show that we may be following the Wyckoff pattern, and it would make sense because the Wyckoff pattern is just basically Wall Street big boys trying to manipulate the market and driving retail out. And yeah, when we dipped to like 53 to 54 last week, I felt a lot of negativity. I could tell it was working. A lot of people were really getting fearful and stressed out, and they probably panic sold, right? But now look at where we are, back to 67, and maybe by tomorrow we'll be at 70,000, and by next week we'll be at 75,000. And then, you know what? We all those of us that didn't fall for the FUD, we will be happier, right? But those that did will be kicking themselves even more, right? All right, that's pretty much for today's video. There's not much more to report other than just things are looking good, charts are looking good, fundamentals looking good, all the FUD, like Mt. Gox FUD, all the distribution that's happening right now is not affecting the Bitcoin price at all because they're doing it right. They're giving it back, either OTC or people are taking it back and they're not selling. Like, you're just not really seeing it. It's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks since the distribution started happening, and we have not seen really any price fluctuations because of it. So all the FUD is going away, and let's not forget, in September we're going to get a rate cut. I mean, that's going to be absolutely fantastic in the U.S. So it's all good. So as for the Bitcoin, as for Karate Combat, the IFC, here's some things I could share. It's going to be absolutely massive, super massive. It's not inside the convention hall, the music hall where the Bitcoin conference is, but it's next to it. It's another music hall, and it could sit up to 9,000 people. Now, originally Karate Combat was saying they're going to cut it in half, so have up to like 4,000 people, but there's so much demand right now that they're going to probably open it up. And if they do and they have a jam-packed house, you will have 9,000 people in there watching this fight. It will be the biggest fight in Karate Combat's history. It will change the trajectory of them. This is from one of the founders. He told me that if we get 9,000 people, this would change the trajectory, not only Karate Combat going forward, but also the IFC. And I am super, super, super excited about that. I think it's going to be absolutely massive. You're going to have some really good fighters there. Their jiu-jitsu guys are good. Plus, you're going to have 5 awesome IFC matches. And I already let those guys know, you know, they will be they will be in front of 9,000 people possibly, right? Showcasing themselves and representing their projects. What better way to do it than that, right? And on top of that, this will be streamed, and you're gonna have tens of million people watching, right? And I've been told that RFK will be there. Unconfirmed rumors that like Sailor's gonna be there. Other celebrities like Joe Rogan will be there, and you know, there's a few other surprises that could come up, like Kid Rock could be there, the Hawk Tuah girl, and many others. You just don't know. You don't know who shows up to these fights. Sometimes it's just so many random people, and you know every single Bitcoiner is going to be there. Everyone for going to the conference gets a free ticket, so why would you first of all not get one and go there? But a lot of people are telling me it's really the talk of the town. Everyone wants it. And, you know, people that's been coming to me asking for VIP tickets, I mean, sky high. I've never had this many people ask me for this many tickets. Luckily, I was able to give out a lot of them to, you know, to these other KOLs and project leaders and so forth. But just like Bitcoin, it's so exciting, and I can't wait to commentate the fights, to watch them along with you guys. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Hopefully the video's not too washed out. Doing something a little different today. So smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and let's see where Bitcoin is tomorrow. And stay tuned for my Sunday walk video. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.